just cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757.
Hey everybody, we're about to welcome a guest for today, somebody that you may know as, it depends on how long you've been listening to Covino and Rich. You may know him or where you're at on social media. You might know him as Marlon 50. Some of us older cats that are, older Covino and Rich listeners remember Marlon 50. For the longest time, I thought his name was Marlon. I was like, oh, this guy named Marlon's a cop. Okay, cool. And you might know him as Keto 50 if you're on TikTok or YouTube or social media. You might even know him from the nightly news with Lester Holt, where he met his brother. There's so many things you might know this guy from. We would like to welcome today Mr. Keto 50, Eric Reynolds. Eric, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
And I forgot to mention the Cops and Campers, another thing you have going on, man. So many things you have.
Yeah, I still want to take the flagpole and show Rich what I really think of his opinion about my flag, but that's for another day. That's a face-to-face talk.
That is so funny. I love it.
Rich,
I know
a couple of those face-to-face talks.
I know, Eric, you were giving El Cucuy a little background on your listening and how you got started with Covino and Rich. Can you give us a brief little description or summary of how you found them?
Okay. Well, I was a cop at the time for about 5 years. I was, listening to whatever local radio or CD, I'd burn my own CDs and stuff and just kind of wasting time that way. And, I followed Howard on some local channel down in South Florida, and he kept talking about going over to Sirius and the whole, it's uncensored and, you don't have to worry about commercials. And I knew some people that were with XM already talking about it. So I was like, let me try this Sirius XM thing. And then I ended up finding the rock channels because I'm a rock guy, hard rock guy, and
Dwayne Johnson?
And what?
Not that
Dwayne
rock.
Johnson, the rock? Oh,
Dwayne
No,
Johnson?
No, though I was at the game at Florida State when we beat them and they showed him on the sideline almost crying. But that's a whole nother story. Yeah.
Right
that was back in 93, way back when. But
was that when he played for Miami?
yeah, he was a Hurricane then. He had sacked Charlie Ward earlier in the game, but we ended up coming back and smashing him. But he was on the sideline with this frown look on his face, and I'm like, that's The Rock. It's crazy. He was just a regular football player then.
Yeah.
He backed up Warren Sapp back then.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I started listening to Octane. I heard this cat Covino on the show talking about his other radio show on Maxim. So I'm like, I was single cop then. I was all about the TNA.
Yeah, of course.
I would listen, and I listened to all the different shows, but, Covino and Rich seemed to make me laugh. They had silly thoughts. I kind of thought, like why we fell into that, becoming Carl's kind of, we could.
The band boy world.
Yeah. And it was like, they called out some, sometimes I'm a little more Covino, but other times I'm a little bit more Rich, so you could go back and forth. And, I was telling El Cucuy that I used to pause my Sportster radio in between calls, so I could go handle whatever domestic shoplifter, and I'd be hurrying up trying to get back because I knew that I don't remember how long the time was where it would pause it because I had to hear what would happen. So I could stretch the show. I could stretch the show out to about 4 or 5 hours. And so it was my whole shift listening to these clowns, and it was awesome, and then obviously calling in and, I won a Trojan vibrator because I was able to guess that Rich's dad carries the accordion address book or whatever in his wallet.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I started being known as Marlon 50. I used to follow the Marlins around with a bunch of us. We go to different cities and just kind of, hey, we're Marlin fans in Milwaukee. And we didn't know there was Marlin fans, right? But that's how I kind of got to know the guys. I saw them at a couple of All-Star games, and I just kind of became Marlon 50 at that time, and everyone thought, my name was Marlon, but it wasn't. Anyways, so yeah.
That's dope, though.
So I just listened to him my whole time on shift, and would call in, and obviously, got more involved into the show and some of the different aspects of it when I could, but yeah, it's been great, man. I can't believe how long I've been listening to those guys when I think about it.
It's been probably for you at least 15 years, right?
Yeah, you go back to 06. I mean, 18 or 17 right now, and we went to the studio in 2011. I got to meet Hulk Hogan in the studio. My wife.
Oh man, shut up!
Can you believe and Covino was in LA, so it was just Rich, Spot, and I think he was promoting some little people wrestling league.
That's so funny.
Wasn't a midget toss league. It was an actual wrestling league.
Yeah.
And I remember shaking his hand. I was like, holy cow, look at the size of this guy.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. To sit like, there's the dude, I was watching Francis Ngannou on Joe Rogan yesterday, and he was saying that, Mike Tyson's training him for this fight against Tyson Fury. And he was saying that even now, he's gotten to know Mike on a personal level. And he even said, he grew up a fan, and it's crazy when he's right there, and from his corner is Mike Tyson. And he said he'll look back and like, is that really the guy? Is that like, so to meet Hulk Hogan in person, and to me, that would be so crazy. That'd be.
I wasn't
crazy.
a Hulkster. I mean, I wasn't like Rich. I was a lot older. I'm like 10 years older than he is. I'm actually approaching 54 now. It's pretty crazy. But
it's funny because you look younger than Rich. It's crazy.
I know. I'm keep telling him. He keeps talking about, oh, diabetes runs in my family, dude. It's the sugar and carbs in your family. That's why you all are diabetic, But
yeah,
he likes his little cakes and his little treats, except when he goes vegan and loses his mind. That's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, it was kind of like my little guys on shift I would listen to, and I was telling El Cuckoo when I got shot, I remember they talked about on the show because Seabrink mentioned it. He's like, hey, one of our listeners got in a shooting, and started hearing the show. And I remember calling in and they asked me to tell the story on the show.
You were still bleeding when you called in?
No, not quite. The funny thing is I always remember because they had cut off my shoe when I got shot through the foot by a bank robber. El Cucuy, he shot me when he was opening his door, and then we shot back, killed his ass. But when they cut off my shoe, let's say, my toes were a little bit busted up. And I remember Cavino always saying Portecito because I wasn't like Mel Manning. I didn't have no claws or talons or anything, but they weren't looking their best. And here's crime scene taking photos, and everyone's in a big circle, all looking at my foot. And I'm like, oh man, it's like getting caught with underwear with a hole in it or holes.
Yeah,
in it.
no lie. You know what though? And I've never been shot, but there's been times I've broken many bones from my femur to my ankle to my foot, and it's never a convenient time, right? It's never when you just clipped your toenails. It's never when you just trimmed up your man bush, and they're cutting you wide open on the middle of the table. It's always the most inconvenient times, man. But you know what? That's why I've learned you need to stay ready so you don't got to get ready, right?
Yeah, I actually said that in a magazine because I used to hear Snoop Dogg say that. I'm like, yeah, stay ready. You have to get ready. And they put it in there as my quote. And I'm like, that's so funny. I got a Snoop Dogg quote in a police magazine.
That is so funny. Yeah. But how long was the recovery? Was it a bad shot to the foot? Did he shoot like you break a metatarsal or
No. It just tore muscles and nerve. So it was about 3 months before it came back to full duty. And that was just the beginning, because then the other things happen along the way, from PTSD and pulling my gun out and almost shooting another guy again, and it just started weighing on me. And what happened, I got up to 250 pounds. I was eating my way out of it, kind of trying to, and didn't know how to deal with it. It's not the kind of profession you go around and tell people you're struggling. And my struggle was, and I wanted to crawl under my desk and hide. It was the rage and the anger I was feeling, knowing that if some shit breaks a little squirrely, am I going to lose it to the point I go either too excessive?
Yeah.
And then I'm getting indicted, So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff with the weigh on you over that time. So I finally bit the bullet and got some help, went through workers' comp and got a PTSD therapist to start talking to. And he pretty much helped me understand and how to dance with it. It wasn't going anywhere. It has tied to my central nervous system. It's trauma for a reason, and you're gonna have to learn how to manage it. And I try to this day.
But you know what? Respect for that though, man, because you know what? Like, the cops are supposed to protect us, and a situation like that obviously can mess your mentals a little bit. Anybody, correct? I mean, that's a PTSD situation for sure. And the fact that you did that to try to be the best version of yourself while still protecting people, man, much respect for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I was a cop in South Florida. We're very diverse down there. It's a melting pot. So if you saw our police department, I mean, it's like where I went to school. We got Hispanic, we got blacks, we got Creole, Haitian people. We got so many people. Even our department was like that. So there is this us against them, but it was always more about, I'm trying to protect my buddy over here, my buddy over here. We all want to, that old cliche, want to make it home. And, you go through that, and then it's like, I didn't like working hurricanes, 12-hour shifts away from my house to protect other people. It started getting to that point where I don't care about these other people. I want to protect my family. My wife's at home without her husband. And yeah, you can make arrangements, you can make sure they're safe and have friends over and family, but it was a psychological thing. So when I finally started getting help, and I started doing more podcasts, like in the law enforcement world, about hey, you guys got to get this out of out of you. You got to talk about it, because we're all going through it. Nobody talks about it, at a get together. But then that's why my cops and campers thing took off. I started meeting all these cops at these different campgrounds, and they need therapy, and most of it's just talking, bullshitting around. They need that gang again. So that's where my focus is now. But back then it was a rough road. My family was feeling it, my wife, and I wasn't abusive, but I was drinking way too much back then, trying to deal with it. I couldn't get high. And the only other things were to do is prescribe me pills that I wasn't going to be allowed to drive a police vehicle with anyway. So what do you do?
Yeah.
So being able to retire at 50 years old and get out of there and leave it. And I did. And then 3 months later, COVID hit. And I was like, what the heck is going on in the world? I mean, I finally get to retire in life, right? I'd sit back, and now it's like, all right, are the Chinese coming? Are they gonna, or what? You start getting a little paranoid in the beginning, because you really didn't know what was going down. So yeah, it plays on your mind, man. So, anyways, I'm glad I'm out and living this new life.
Yeah, it looks super fun, man. I mean, just seeing you do it and helping people, not only with your cops and campers, but with your keto, all of your keto stuff that you're doing. It's just really cool, man. Because I was telling you yesterday, I was like, man, because you said something about, I think you sent me a picture of your surroundings, and I was just like, yeah, I'm quite a ways away from retiring, and you're like, you'll get there, and it's just like, to see you at that point, I'm like, oh, it's so cool, man, to see you living every day, doing what you want. You're not tied down to your 9 to 5, or yours was, I'm sure your days were much longer than that, of course, but to see you just living every day, it's awesome. It's so cool to see.
Especially being with my kids. We homeschooled in 2018. We pulled my kid out of first grade. Nothing that's going on now. It was just, he's an active boy, and he just doesn't need to be sitting in a chair all day, and, to be able to be with them now, because I have a second son, and then travel and just be with them, that we're learning how to build fires, how to build, almost like alone, we practice stuff like that, because I want them to be able to be self-sufficient in food, and being able to take care of themselves, stuff I wasn't taught being a suburban kid in Miami. I didn't learn any of that. And I had to learn everything along the way, and I'm not that great at everything, but I can do a lot more now than I used to. And that's what I'm trying to teach them, and be better people. And who are they going to, you think about it, most kids are in school all day, come home, you come home from work, and then you get 3 hours to be a parent. And then the weekends you try to go back to, I'm parent all the time. And they're like, well, you haven't even been around all week, because I haven't, I'm saying, it's a thing with both 100%. Parents working, unfortunately, and it's really spreading down to our kids, and I've just been fortunate, being able to retire at 50. I was diagnosed with heart disease. They wanted to put stents in me, and I was 48 years old, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? I've been trying to watch what I'm drinking, trying to watch what I'm eating, and I'm still gaining weight, and then I found a guy that I played hoops with. He lost 50 pounds. He's like keto, and I thought it was martial arts or some shit. Like, I got, it sounded keto. It sounded awful. It sounded like CrossFit to
Muay Thai, keto, jiu-jitsu. It all goes together, right?
Yeah. I was just like, whatever. And I finally looked it up and understood about the whole, burning fat for fuel, and how that you can maintain that. And then, I lost 40 pounds in like 6 months. And then after I retired, I lost another 25. So overall, I've lost 80 pounds. I'm 180 pounds, which I haven't seen since before high school, when I was wearing husky jeans in like 7th grade.
Dang, man.
And I've never seen it. I got abs now, dude. I haven't never.
I know
seen
a guy named Husky Nipple.
Husky. I'm telling you, I had the Huskies from Sears or J.C. Penney. I don't remember which ones, who sold what, but it was, people see your pant size in class.
Yeah.
But yeah, I battled my weight my whole life. I was always a heavy kid, embarrassed to take my shirt off at the beach. I wasn't obese, But I was always a good 25, 30 pounds overweight. I was always ashamed of my belly, even though I had a couple girls that would love it, they said, but man, when you lose that body weight and you get down to your natural weight that you should be, it's amazing. And I'm just lucky enough to do it at a young age. I cured my heart disease. All my numbers, my A1C is like 5.1, diabetes is long gone. I mean, it's amazing what I did with just nutrition.
Yeah.
And it's, and that's why I started a Keto 50 company. That's why they call me, it was originally, hey, 50, how'd you lose the weight? I go keto. And then it just became, hey, Keto 50, you got to help me out, and started helping these cops, man. And I got them fasting on shift where they go 10 to 12 hours. They don't eat, they drink coffee and whatever to stay hydrated. And then they come off and they have bacon and eggs and freaking steak or whatever they want, and that's the kind of guys I'm helping right now to keep them mentally focused on the job. And, you eat a high carb meal and now you're driving around a police car.
You're falling out.
Still not get, yeah.
Yeah.
You might get caught slipping.
You're not running.
What was that, Kukui?
I said, if you're all.
Oh man, you're cutting out.
Man, your one-liners are like fading.
I know. I'm like, damn, I know they're so good. That's why I keep asking.
The last thing I heard was he knew a boy named Husky.
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, we got. Yeah, but anyway.
So if you eat a fat meal and you're all, if you're not on a special.
But okay, you know what? I was going to ask you real quick, and I know this isn't even really why you came on, but I have a question. So, you talked about they get off shift. They've been fasting for 10 to 12 hours, and now they're having bacon and eggs and stuff. I am very fascinated with the keto diet. And I wanted to move more into that direction. One of the things that, I don't know if carnivore is like a bad, if you would prefer keto to carnivore, because my big thing is I don't do well. I don't know. After I hit 30, I don't do well with dairy. So eggs, I love eggs, but I just can't have them.
Well, here's the thing that's happened with my kids, because my wife was lactose intolerant. We've discovered that they can't have pasteurized milk. They have to have raw milk. So we're always on the hunt, raw goat milk or raw milk from a cow. I'm talking, you can get the udder and squirt it in your mouth raw. And that's why those country boys are always so big, because you're all that pasteurization only happened so they could sell the shit. It had nothing to do with protecting you. Yeah, if you go drink regular cow milk that's not pasteurized and you're not used to it, there is going to be a stomach biome thing that's going to happen. That's going to shake everything up. But if you stick to it, and the cheeses, hard cheeses, not the soft cheeses, there's things you can do. But yeah, if you don't have to mess with dairy if you don't want to. I mean, I know guys have eaten ribeyes for 20 years. That's all they eat, ribeyes all the time.
Yeah.
That's it. I haven't had vegetables, dude. And
I can tell you about the dairy. I can tell you all about that dairy, man, because my family in Colorado, they're dairy farmers. And the sickest I ever been in my life is I drank unpasteurized milk one time, and my grandmother might have left it out a little long on the table, so that could have played a role. But good God, I probably threw up 45 times in about 10 hours.
Well, you mentioned eggs. One of the things that one of my sons has an issue with chicken protein. So we realized if he has regular store-bought eggs, he has a reaction because those chickens are fed soy and corn, which aren't a natural food for chickens. So all that allergen comes down through the chicken to your kid. So now my kid can eat quail eggs, or if it's a real pastured chicken that runs around wild eating insects like it's supposed to, he doesn't have a reaction to it, because it's crazy. He's so pure because we haven't, he was breastfed 3 years. They don't eat cereal for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? So when he has something that's out of the norm, we see it. It's like, boom, a rash pops up, or his behavior changes. And we're like, what was? And he's like, oh, we had that cake at, a little piece of brownie somewhere. I'm like, oh, he's high now. That's why he's acting fucking crazy. But we dove into that world, and it saved my life. And my kids being young, we really teach them a lot about nutrition. And, we ate meat for thousands of years, and now they expect us to eat kibble. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, no,
well, it's crazy what they did with the dogs, with dog food. Dog food's a perfect example of that, is where I've always wondered how we got hoodwinked to feed them these little brown pellets when they're scavengers on 4 legs, and they just used to eat whatever they could find on the ground. But they've, Pedigree and Alpo and all these people have kind of trained us that those burnt little kibbles were what was best at Fresh Pet and all these companies coming out making fresh food. But it's crazy when they're pushing an agenda to line their pockets on what they'll do and what lengths they'll go to convince us that the bullshit they're feeding us is correct.
Oh yeah, they've totally done it to the pets. You know, I remember Bill Burr did a stand. He goes, whatever they're doing to dogs, they're gonna do to us.
Yeah.
Right? Chip us, you know, make us
Yeah.
dependent on them. It's sick. And all we've done is dogs and cats, get the fuck out of here. That just blows my mind. Like you said, they're scavengers. They are supposed to eat meat, bones, insects. I guess if they're a bear, they may eat some berries. Oh, I saw a bear the other day. It was crazy. He walked right by in front of me driving. I was like, holy shit, a bear. I mean, I'm a Miami kid. I'm not used to seeing bears, except maybe Mike Ditka or something. And
Yeah.
so we,
Heyo.
Mike Singletary.
but yeah, it's just been, you know, a shock. My mom's lost 2 dogs recently. They took one to get kidney surgery, and they're feeding it people food. I'm like, what do you think is going on with your dog? I don't preach to her because she's your mom or my mom, and which we'll get into being a homicide sergeant. It's not one I'm not gonna win any arguments with her. So it's fact. They're making them sick. They got health insurance for pets. Are you kidding me? I mean,
yeah, but you see now you'll see at the you know, in the dog food section, they do have refrigerators now because they have you know, more natural looking foods that aren't going to have a shelf life of 6 years, you know, that will spoil if you don't have them in the fridge and you don't, you know, give it to your dog right away, which is really cool.
Yeah. Even that that one that they're pushing that has vegetables in it.
Yeah, no, I had an old dog, and he you know, his name, he was a little older, and he got sick, and so he wasn't really eating that kibble there for a while. So what I was doing is I was just getting like lean chicken and rice and like vegetables and making him like pre-made prep meals. You know, I'd make a whole chicken, and he'd have food for the next 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, you got to treat him like you were out there, you know, on the prairie, right? You throw them the scraps, or, you know, back in the day, the rich used to eat the organs. You'd throw all the steaks and stuff to the dogs, and now somehow we're eating the steaks. Makes you think, you know.
Right.
But hey, carnivore is a good way to start if you want. I mean, your stomach's going to change because right now your digestive system, even though it's messed up probably from processed foods. I mean, most people are, not you in particular.
Oh no, me.
There is a transition that's going to happen if you start eliminating seed oils and some of the sugars. Your body's going to, like, they call it the keto flu. It's actually the sugar freaking withdrawals is what's going on. Your body's like, holy shit, I'm not getting the carbs and some of the minerals that I'm used to getting, even though you can get them other forms, you know, droplets, or eat other foods, avocados and some other stuff. And man, talking about elimination diet, you come back introducing stuff. You know, maybe it's a hamburger. You went to McDonald's one day or something, and all of a sudden your body's gonna be like, "Oh man, what the fuck?"
Yeah,
right. And you'll never go. That's what happened to me. I realized I got off the poison, and when I dabbled back in it, I felt like shit.
Yeah, it made you not want it.
Right. I mean, I remember I went to the convention, the 10th one in New York.
Yeah.
I got a couple of pictures of me eating pizza. I don't even remember. I fucking blacked out or something. But I guess I was housing these New York pizza down. I don't even remember the taste or anything. And all I know is the next day I was all like, fuck.
Yeah. You know I mentioned earlier I was listening to Joe Rogan. He okay, go. Sorry, my kid keeps popping in the room. But he was talking about how he's mostly carnivore now, and what he was like, sometimes, you know, I'll go off of it and I'll eat, you know, some pasta or something. And he was like, it's crazy because it really is like an addiction. The sugar, you're eating it and you're like, oh, this is so good in the moment, and you just know that you're going to be so messed up that evening, the next day, that night, or you're going to be holding your stomach. And it just reminded me of that when you're grabbing your belly, because your body is just, oh, what the fuck? You've been carnivore for, you know, a month. You haven't, you know, gone off of it. And then now you're giving me pasta with all this processed shit. Now your body's like, what the fuck do I do with this? You know? And that's where you're getting those aches and pains and shit. So
yeah, you're inflamed, and there's a direct link between your stomach and your brain. You know, and that's why you got so much mental disease out there, I think, is not only the medications people are on, but before they get there, I mean, come on, Post and Kellogg cereals, I mean, that stuff's garbage, you know, and they promoted years ago, breakfast, most important meal of the day, right? I mean, all you gotta do is follow the money and everything, you know.
Exactly.
And you'll see
Big
what
pharma.
what the agendas are, why they're pushing this and not that.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want me telling people to lay off sugar and carbs and take care of yourself. You don't need to go to a doctor. That's hurting the bottom line.
100%.
Well, I
Yeah.
got a question for you. Isn't it crazy when you sit back and realize that they've been lying to us about everything our whole life?
I know. I remember with Seinfeld when, what was it? The mailman started going off. And he's like, I can't take it. And then Publishers Clearinghouse comes, you know, and that's why I kind of feel like everything is almost, you know, there's always truth within the lie. You know, that's how they kind of cover it up. You know, we got to do this to protect you. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. But meanwhile, you're losing something, you know, or they're doing something with the food, or the sugar industry controlling our FDA years ago.
Well, yeah. Well, I was going to
mean,
ask about that because I'm not real versed in the conversation, but the sugar, from what I understand, the sugar company back in the day paid off, what was it, like somebody, to where they were like, hey, rather than low sugar or, you know, whatever, we're going to make everything, you know, low fat. You have low fat cheese, low fat this, low fat. So people were ignoring the fact that the sugar was the real enemy. So they were putting all of this power and shit, I can't even think of the word, into the fat, when really the sugar was the real culprit. And so now here we are, you know, 30, 40 years later from when they got paid off, and now everybody's fucking sick because everybody's addicted.
yeah, you can look up Ansel Keys. He was on the cover of Time magazine. He's the cholesterol guy, they said back then, that said because of the president at that time, I forgot if it was Eisenhower who it was, he had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And they said because he eats bacon and eggs every day is why he had a heart attack. Not that he smokes 3 packs a day.
No,
that was never even in the conversation.
Yeah.
And he skewed some studies. And next thing you know, like I say, he's on the cover of Time magazine saying eggs are bad, bacon is bad, and all this stuff. And now you've seen the decline. And I don't know about you, I go to some of these museums and I get to look at some of these old modern weapons and stuff that we used to carry around. Man, we are some weak son of bitches nowadays, man, compared to what was walking around back in the day. You know, I mean, swords, axes, all that stuff. We could barely lift it right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Look,
Well,
yeah.
they gotta make their mind up on the eggs, because just in my lifetime alone, they were good, they're bad, now they're good again. Like, how many times can they keep flipping direction on something like that, or we just call bullshit for everything they say?
mm-hmm.
I call it bullshit now, because I started looking at my statins that they wanted to prescribe me and some of the cholesterol meds. I started looking at research, like, where's this coming from? And then you find out the American Heart Association, it's not even like a government, it's a private institution that sets these guidelines. They're bribed by the sugar industry, they're bribed by all the food and pharma, and they set the guidelines. They lower the cholesterol down from, let's say, 230 to 220. Then it's 220 to 210. 210 to 200. You know how much money that's getting? That means all of a sudden you're getting half this country on prescription meds.
Well, because it ignites that. It's a circular business, because one thing that's impacts other things, and they all generate revenue. And so everything they do falls in that cycle, and they keep that whole cycle going. And I don't know about you, but for me, even with what they just said, I don't know if you caught this in the news, but I guess because the way tweakers were breaking down the sufedrin cold medicine, they just came out, they reformulated it 5 years ago, and they just came out and said it did nothing for you in the current format. So they yanked it. So for me, there's one cure-all that's always worked for me in every situation, from needing to go to sleep, to needing to eat, to pain management, to calming down from stress. And it grows natural. I don't got to do nothing to it. I can pick it out of the ground, let it dry, and I'm good.
Yeah. That's the way. I mean, we're trying to homestead. You know, we want to get some goats and chickens, and I might eventually move up to cattle farmer. We'll see what happens. But I want to be in control of my food, man, because it saved me.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
and then it got me all to, you know, obviously being in South Florida, I went through the opiate crisis. We arrested doctors when I was in Vice for pill mills. I saw that dirty side. You know, I had to deal with families from it too. Yeah. And I never forgot that, you know, and I remember, and everything I seen, you know, I watched that painkiller documentary or whatever on Netflix. Yeah. I saw the farm, everything I've seen, I go, yep, that's how it was. That's what they're doing. you know.
What's crazy though is if you really know somebody, like I've got some friends, man. I used to watch a buddy, and he called it a Vicodin splash. He would get the strongest Vicodins they made, throw 10 in a water bottle, shake it till it was liquid, and slam it. And it's funny how you can get that shit from Rite Aid, but you can't get weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny how they make it like it's the devil and it's Schedule 1 narcotic.
Yeah,
this,
I was
going to
say Schedule 1. It's ridiculous.
I never arrested, man.
Let me ask you this, Eric.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many domestic violence calls have you went to where they were stoned?
Unless they're fighting over the last pizza. But no, seriously, we never had them. And that's why I never usually arrested for marijuana. I was a big pothead in college, you know, and then when I didn't plan on being a cop, you know, even though my mom was a cop, I kind of was like, I don't want that life. I already lived it, kind of, you know. And,
yeah.
Right.
You know, and I started after college, you know, you got to get everywhere's drug testing. So I had to get off the weed. And, you know, I got into retail security for Macy's, you know, and got my own store. And then, you know, and ended up Boynton Beach was like, hey, you should come on. I was like almost 30. I was like, you know what? They got a pension. I'm tired of getting pepper sprayed by these shoplifters, because I would do hand-to-hand combat with these guys, dude. It was like bare knuckles fighting.
Me too.
And then it was all for stealing some other stuff, but it was so much fun.
Is the closest.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. El Cucuy told me how he would chase people down, and he would get in these fist fights with these people. So very, very similar.
Yeah, it was great. And, you know, obviously getting on the job, I'm like, all right, I'll do 20 years and get out. But sorry, my kid just walked in here. I'm wondering what he's doing. What are you doing, kid? Getting a Nerf gun? Oh, getting a football? Oh, he's switching footballs. All
right. He needs a fresh one. Come on, man.
I'm like, oh no, not yet. All right. Yeah. So, anyways, you know, seeing all that stuff with pharmaceutical companies and getting me away from that world, and then, you know, but I'm sorry, getting back to being a cop thing. You know, I was always pretty fair, man. You know, I wasn't in it to prove. I'd already been I was already a manager, already managed people. You know, I was on that 6-year plan to graduate from college. So I did, you know, I had my toe in the party scene a little bit. You know, that's why it took me so long to become a cop, you know, because they were like, you smoke weed in 5 years? I was like, yeah, I smoked my senior night. And they're like, oh, you're too old. You're disqualified. I got every door shut, you know, in the beginning. And then I had to go dispatch route. And then I finally got in. And they're like, all right, you're not a bad guy because you smoked weed. Thanks. You know, and now it's like, are you high today? They'll fucking hire you, you know?
It's crazy because I know I have my undergraduate degree is in justice administration, and my original goal was to be a police officer. I was gonna do, you know, community college and then go to the police academy, you know, when I turned 21 and I can actually carry a firearm. And I ended up taking a different route. And a lot of times that I would go on ride-alongs and stuff. My brother was a cop for about 10 years. And whenever I'd go on ride-alongs, not even with him, but with other officers, it's funny that you mentioned that about the weed, because we'd go on ride-alongs and they would tell me, oh yeah, you know, the tweakers are usually the ones, you know, kind of causing things and robbing people or whatever. And he was like, the potheads, they kind of keep to themselves. And that was always across the board. That's what it was we're not going to bother them unless we have to. Right. But it was kind of like, you know, they just kind of do their own thing. They're never. And I told El Cucuy yesterday, there was Snoop Dogg mentioned about weed. He was like, alcohol, you hear alcohol, people start fighting, start bringing up shit, whatever. Weed just brings people together. And I'm not even a big smoker, but just it's very, you know, there's a community where you know what, everybody's chilling. You're whether it's you're all hitting the bong or whatever, everybody, it's just very like family oriented, you know, everybody's has a very chill vibe.
I'll say this, kind of like the NFL, where all the players are, you know, they don't want the pain meds anymore. They'd rather just smoke. I would feel personally much more confident in my local police department if after the stuff you went through, you know, Eric, and you know, and all of that, if that's how you medicated versus alcohol, you know what I mean? That would make me feel better because, like you said, I mean, who's more likely to do something and that they regret? Someone that's been drinking after work every day and is slightly hungover the next day? Or someone that came home and smoked a little weed?
You should come into a morning lineup one time. Not that you should, but if you could look at some of the people, especially after a Sunday football day, shit.
Yeah.
First thing those guys are they're gonna break lineup and go take a nap. you know, and then they're going to meet up at 6 for breakfast. And meanwhile, all your businesses are getting broken into. But I'm not saying that always happens, but it's a repeated cycle. And I do believe that they were able to, you know, medicate or, I mean, if you want to get divorced, lose half your stuff, live in an apartment, paying child support, then become a cop, because that's usually what happens to all my friends. I mean, it's such a stressful job, working nights, trying to, and, you know, there is something with the power. Women pay attention to you, or men, whatever, you know, side you're on. I don't care. And you do get attention, and you got to be able to manage that. I could see how these 24, 25, 20, you know, these kids coming out, some of the decision making is, you know, is just maturity, you know, and life experience. I don't care if they went to Iraq for 2 years and battled. I mean, I care, but I'm saying as far as the job here, you're not in combat. You got to know how to talk to people, you know. And sometimes, yeah, you got to be ready for the fight, but most of the time it's going to get you in trouble is your mouth and your actions against somebody, you know.
Well, and I gotta say it, like all those accolades and the stuff that you've done in previous, you know, that you can speak highly of, any kind of recognition and moments, that's great. But the minute you become an asshole, like a super asshole, no one cares. Those are just excuses.
Yeah. And I know plenty. I mean, I always tell people, where do you think they get cops from? You know, they come from your family, your neighborhoods, your schools, everywhere, you know. There's not a cop factory where they make this perfect dude. He's going to have problems like you. He's going to have problems with his wife. Might have problems with his mistress. Might have problems with his sergeant, his captain, his, you know, 100%. And it shit builds, man. And everyone has it, not just cops. I'm just saying, but that's why you see these guys sometimes just lose their shit. And you're like, dude, what was that dude thinking? Yeah, there's a bunch of trauma built up that he hasn't either dealt with, or maybe shouldn't have been a cop to begin with. You know, we've lowered standards. We've tried to get, you know, a diverse, you know, they need to make it more of a professional job rather than like, you know, like you got to get paid like a freaking doctor or something, because it's becoming a special craft that you really got to know how to wiggle in that world. And now it's Big Brother, body cams. It's now our guys are on the road. You can't even bond with each other unless you're ready for that to go public, what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it hurts the brotherhood, man. Not that we are trying to cover shit up, but you don't have that trust.
Well,
you know?
Well, at any job, you have water cooler talk, and I'm sure at any job, a lot of times it can get inappropriate, and a lot of that talk sometimes centers around the job that you're doing, you know. So I'm sure, like, man, this motherfucker, I had him yesterday, and he would not get into cuffs. I'm sure, but yet, if someone puts that on TikTok, it's going to look horrible.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Because it was recording, because they weren't used to it. So they grab some guy right throat. You listen here, motherfucker. And you're like, oh no, you know you're in front of the car, bro.
Yeah.
And then you start fading out of the shot, like, I'm not in this.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I had a good career. I got out, and now I'm living the rest of my life in another direction. I'm not going back to law enforcement. I mean, I did it. I mean, I'm not to say I wouldn't ever fall back into maybe some type of security for anybody that's looking for weed protection for your farm or your marijuana growing business. I'm a free agent.
Right. Hey, you know, when I was still in that industry, bro, here's some crazy shit. Like when those George Floyd riots kicked off, we were in East Oakland at the time. They had motherfuckers on the roof with AR-15s protecting our shit. There was like 8 strapped. They were just on lockdown, guarding the facility, man. Crazy shit. Even when it wasn't George Floyd, because that's just the stories that I heard, because I wasn't there yet at that time. But I did get there in May of 2021, and there were 3 or 4 strapped at all times. Like there was a gate, they had to let you in. You had to come see them before you go in the building, and they had 2. I don't know if you know if it's legal. They would have like 2 pistols, or they'd have a pistol and like 3 clips.
That's crazy. Yeah, I totally would do that now, especially if, you know, if I can get in on the business, investing in or something like that, you know.
Right, right.
So we probably should talk about my mom coming up, her character on this Netflix show, right? Not to hog your show up or anything.
No, let's do it. I'm curious as hell.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you want to give us, Eric, a little backstory on? I haven't seen any trailers or anything, so just a backstory on the whole situation, and then how your mom played a role in it.
All right. I guess first, my mom was she became a cop in 1975. She's Cuban, but she's a light-skinned, almost a brownish red hair, you know, doesn't look Cuban, you know, as we said, they're the light-skinned Cubans, as we would say. And anyways, when she got hired on in 75, she didn't expect to be a cop. You know, she just wanted the benefits because she had a little kid to raise, a 5-year-old kid. And anyways, gets into police work, moves up the ranks a little bit, gets into homicide. And then that's when we have the Dadeland shooting back in, I think, 1980. They shot up a liquor store that was connected to our mall. And they found an assault vehicle there in the parking lot that they left behind. And they had bulletproof vests, they had machine guns, Uzis. And at the time, all the cops, including my mom and her future husband, who was on the case, they were both married to different people at this time. So they worked together, and then later on, they got married. So they're like, wow, we got revolvers, and we're going against these machine guns. So then that got the government's attention, plus multiple murders and intersections and stuff like that. So they started a Centec task force that was under George Bush and Reagan. And they sent in, you know, DEA, FBI, whoever they could. And they started a task force. And my mom got to be part of that task force. And she used to do wiretaps where she was listening to the Colombian cartel talk. She'd go undercover in the bars and stuff like that. So she lived a pretty exciting life then when I was like 10 years old, you know, and I didn't think much of it. And then, you know, she retired in 2003. You know, I was already on the job in Florida, and she moved up to Tennessee. And, you know, she'd been in a couple of books, you know, where they're telling stories about the gangsters, you know, stuff like that. There's one called Cocaine Cowboys from 2006. Her and my stepfather are both in that. She's briefly in it. And he's actually the main, my stepfather, Al Singleton, he was the main guy in it talking about the hitman and all this stuff. So that was pretty cool to see them back there. And, you know, 2019 comes, I'm retiring. I'm getting, I just left the Dubro convention up there in New York.
Yeah.
I hadn't even found my brother yet. This is in between that time. And I get a call from somebody I did a podcast with, and they're like, hey, this guy wants to get in touch with you. So I call this number back. And the guy's like, hi, my name's Doug Myro. I'm like, Doug Myro, okay. He's like, well, I'm one of the executive producers of a show on Netflix. It's called Narcos. I'm like, Narcos?
Yeah.
I'm like, shit. I go, I watch that shit all the time. Narcos, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go, you're Doug Myro? I didn't know who Doug Myro is at that point. Now I look and I see his name in the credits, right? I'm like, holy shit, there he is. So anyways, because we'd really like to talk to your mom. For a half a second, I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna do something with my shooting or some story. I was like, oh, I'm going to Netflix.
I'm on Netflix.
You know?
Yeah.
Something, right?
Yeah.
They're like, no. They're like, we heard your mom on a podcast. I got my mom on a podcast to talk about some of her stuff, and I guess they heard it. And they're like, we were so fascinated that we're in the midst of creating a Narcos Miami show.
Oh shit.
And we'd love to talk to your mom. I'm like, all right. So I call my mom, get them together. They fly out to my mom in Tennessee, and they get lost in the mountains. My stepfather's got to go rescue them, help them out, and get them to the house. So they sit there for a whole weekend telling stories, documenting everything. And they leave. About 4 months later, they get a call. Hey, you guys need to hire a lawyer because we got contracts. So they got hired on as advisors. So they get a set fee for their content. And then my mom was going to be able to work with the actress that was playing her. My stepdad was going to work with the actor playing him about some of the dialogues and, you know, stuff that was going on. Well, COVID hit, and then everything kind of just got put on the back burner. So we didn't really think much of it. And then they came back around, I think, in 2022, and they had Sofia Vergara going to be playing the Black Widow, who's Griselda Blanco. She was kind of like the hit lady gangster before Pablo, kind of.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they may have overlapped at times. But anyway, she was pretty brutal. She had murdered like 5 of her husbands. You know, imagine being a woman like that. And then, you know, she ended up getting caught. There's been a couple documentaries and stuff. So anyway, Sophia's going to play her. And then next thing they're like, we're starting filming. And you start hearing about it. My mom's telling me, yeah, they said they're filming. I'm like, oh, cool. And then she's like, the actress called me, Juliana Martinez, talking about, she's Colombian. So she wants to know how to say it in Cuban, because some of the stuff isn't, you know, you can't just transfer Spanish language, as you guys know. I mean, sometimes the way you say it as a Mexican versus, you know, somebody else is different. So she worked with her all the time. I ended up getting talk to the actress too for about 3 hours. She was asking me about room raids. My mom used to toss my room like I was in prison. But
oh shit, really?
Well, she called it a room raid. Like I needed to clean up the room. So she'd pile everything up in the middle of the room, you know, underwear, socks, whatever was out of place. But I know she was looking for fucking dope or some shit. And You won't say it, and I wasn't even a pothead then, but I think she was just, was nosing around. But the actress had asked me, she's like, "Hey, what about these room rates?" I'm like, "I know. I come home, my whole room's in the middle of the room, piled up. Like, you got to clean this shit up." So I didn't think much of that. They're saying it's going to be coming out, and then the director, the same guy, Doug Myra, or the producer, calls me. He's like, "Hey, Eric, we're going to have a little kid on the show, and he's going to portray you. Do you have any pictures of you when you were, playing sports or anything?" And so I had some baseball pictures. That's why I emailed you today.
Mhm.
And then, so they got a little kid that's going to be playing me as her son in the Netflix show.
That's freaking dope.
So there's
man.
and they go, "Do you want to use your real name?" And I'm like, "Eric Reynolds? Fuck yeah, I want to see my name, motherfucker." I'm like a little kid,
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I ever? I mean, I'm not indicted. I'm not going to prison. Like, this is good, good stuff.
Good
So
reason to
like,
have your
yeah,
name out there.
they're like, "We might make the kid a little older though, like 14, not 10. He's like, "What were you doing at 14? I was like, "Man, I was
Getting
jerking
ass.
off. I was jerking off for sure." He's like, "Well, we're not going to put that into the show." I go, "Well, you asked." What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do
What
you
else do
think?
you do when you're
Hey,
14?
that's a Covino Rich answer right there, bro.
It was. So, anyways, they go, "Yeah." So I imagine the kid's gonna have, like, maybe he's gonna be a little baby because mom's working all the time. I don't know. He's probably gonna be a vegan. I keep thinking some soy boy playing me, but it's pretty cool. I don't have any input on the show. I didn't sign a contract. I have nothing to do with it. Just it's gonna be cool. I mean, I'm hoping that. Oh shit! Sorry, I was watching my game. It's gonna be my mom's characters in all 6 episodes that are coming out in January. That's good. So, and she nothing bad happened to my mom in her career, so it's not like she's gonna be a character that disappears. So hopefully they get some legs out of this for a couple of series.
Are they using your mom's real name?
Yeah, June Hawkins. She was married a couple different times in her career, so she had she went from Fernandez to Singleton and stuff like that. But yeah, she's using her maiden name. We have different names. That was one of the things growing up, as I was one of the only kids whose parents were ever divorced in the 70s that I ever remember. There was a couple, but it wasn't a lot. And my dad wasn't around. He's in another state. He was around, but he wasn't there like day to day.
Yeah.
So I was always that oddball. My mom would walk in uniform. So not only was I the only single, I was the divorced kid in class. Here comes my mom as a cop, which was really crazy back then.
Yeah.
All my football coaches trying to hit on my mom and stuff. They're like, "So your mom's seeing anybody?" I'm like, "Get out of here, you scumbag."
Are you gonna start me?
So, but yeah, I know, right? But yeah, she was actually pretty cool. She went to the gang unit when I was in high school. So half my coaches were cops in the gang unit. So I wasn't gonna go off until I got to be older. And by then, she'd already kind of set me in motion with responsibility, being accountable for my actions, don't disappoint her, stuff like that. She gave me a lot of freedom, and if I made a mistake, she would, crack down. But for the most part, I was a pretty good kid for a single divorced mom. I was working all the time. I could have been much worse. And there's probably stuff that I forgot about that I probably got into, but I made it, like, I made it to this point, half a century. So, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's like I say, it comes out in January. I don't know the exact date. And it's gonna be, I don't know what
What's
to
the
expect.
name of this show?
It's called Griselda. They named it.
Oh,
Griselda.
so it's gonna be
that's
after
dope.
her.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's crazy? I was gonna chime in a little earlier. One of the underground Bay Area artists I've been listening to since like 1992. His name's San Quinn, and he has a song called Griselda, and I think that thing came out like, I don't know, it came out 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, we're all on the Griselda tip out here, so I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. It should be good. And she was violent. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's gonna be weird that Sophia's gonna be playing this role, because she would chop people up, put them in a suitcase.
What else is out right now? There was something else. I just watched another series with Griselda in it because she had a girlfriend. She was lesbian, right?
Oh yeah. Well, she was one of those poor girls that got into prostitution before she was 12 or something. So by the time she was 18, she was a wreck.
But I watched a series recently within the last 6 months about Griselda. I just,
Was
for
it
whatever reason,
was it the South something? I think I know what you're talking about, because there was a few documentaries that came out around the same time as like Cocaine Cowboys and shit. Then there was a series shortly after that about her. So I don't remember what it was called either, El Cucuy, but I'm excited. I'm excited that this one's going to be named after her, that it's completely about her,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not going to mirror. I was gonna say it's not gonna be like exactly
Sorry,
like
brother.
blending in with Narcos. No, you're all good. It's gonna be some of those Narcos actors are gonna be playing in this series as different players.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
not. So I was always thinking it was going to kind of mirror that time, and maybe Pablo Escobar made an appearance, you know, the guy that played him or something. I was going to be like, oh, they're all weaved together, but
Yeah.
it looks like it's its own separate show and own story. And I don't think 6 episodes is enough to tell her story. So I'm hoping, you know, mom got a new kitchen, so I hope mom gets a new pool and hot tub, so you know, little Eric can come visit.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah,
is
well,
cool, man.
the people that know about that culture, they know about Griselda. The people that just you hear what everyone talks about, you talk about Pablo. But like if you know about Griselda for sure.
Yeah, I just, you know, looking back, it gives me a lot, you know, of course, mad props to my mom. I didn't know what she was going through. I mean, the picture I emailed you was a black and white picture from her in I think it was 80. And there's a triple homicide, and she's standing there she's looking like McCall from Hunter, if you guys remember that old show. She's got a skirt on, high heels and pantyhose, and she got a big old radio in her hand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was just like, damn, mom, that's what you're doing. You know, I was 9.
Savage.
Yeah.
I was
You
9
just
or
knew
10.
mom was going to work,
Savage.
you know?
And she come home and read me a story.
Yeah.
Some guy's
My mom
brains.
hey bro, my mom was decorating classrooms for her second grade class.
My mom's doing chalk outlines and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But
Man.
yeah, man, we're excited, you know, and you know, I've been talking to Covino about it on the side. I go, man, I don't know what's happening, but now they got a little me, my old Cubs uniform, which is the worst. It's a green Cubs. It's one of those like the league buys all your uniforms and we're all just different colors with some stupid name on. You could be Patriots or what was Covino, a Virginian?
The Virginians, the
Virginians.
Yeah.
The
Virginians.
Yeah, that's right. They misspelled it.
Yeah. Oh,
I used to do little league uniforms at a part-time job in high school, and I used to fuck them things up, man. So yeah, I understand how that shit happens.
Are you saying that you might be the culprit of the Virginians?
I wasn't in Jersey then. I was in Miami.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's probably what?
Daniel's got a cool little machine. He should just make everyone's jersey.
Oh yeah, I got my wife a little cricket to make her little shirts and shit. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But damn, what was I gonna say? You said the Virginians. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I was too busy thinking about that.
I think when I was in T-ball, I think my first team was they had the Twins, they had the Royals. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, a little fishnet, cheap ass hat, passed down. Like Covino said though.
Yeah.
Half the time the letters were spelled wrong.
Yeah, I remember my first soccer team. My grandmother bleached my green shirt, so I was the only one in the whole team photo with like a line, like an olive green shirt, and the whole team was all like. I'm like, so God, funny. Man, I stood out, man, you know, and I hated it. I remember it, like Covino being a little bitch, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no lie. Yeah, it's funny because anything that makes you different, right, is gonna you want to blend in when you're a kid as much as possible because you're like, fuck, man, anything that's different, kids are gonna point out, right? The fucking tall kid, the short kid, the fat kid, the skinny kid, the kid with glasses, the kid with the olive green shirt. You know, you don't want to be that person. So
the kid with all the girls. The kid with all the girls.
Yeah, that kid for me was Scott. I always hated the name Scott because of that kid. No.
That's so funny.
I remember in 8th grade, and he was a buddy of mine, but his name was Andy Lebecki, and he had a pager, bro. This was like 1990. And he would go beep, 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 and all the girls would, oh, Andy, and they would just all gather around. He turned his pager on and off.
Ah, that's so funny. It's like a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
For sure it is. Teenage puppy.
So yeah, man, it's been a great journey. You know, obviously finding my brother, like we discussed, he's, you know, I was never into, real quick, I was never into camping, RVing, and when I found him, he was doing it. He goes, let's go camp together, and man, that's all I've been doing. For almost 4 years, we've been camping full time, driving around my house. Freaking insane.
You know what? I have a question. So I know that when you met your brother, it was crazy because you guys were both in law enforcement. And now that I know the background of your mom, was his family involved in law enforcement, or was his just
his adopted family? His adopted father was a Navy helicopter pilot. And you know what this cat got to do? I was let go as a 6-month-old infant. I didn't know who my birth parents was. He gets adopted by this guy, right? The guy becomes the officer in charge at San Diego's Navy base, where Top Gun was filmed.
Yeah.
So Dave's got pictures with Goose wearing the leather jacket and Tom Cruise, because since his dad was the OIC, the officer in charge of the whole place, he got to be on set. He watched Top Gun, those scenes as a 10-year-old kid. Meanwhile, my mom saw it happen. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I grew up in San Diego. I was surfing all day off the base. I'm like, yeah, really tough life, Here I am, a street kid in Miami, trying to I'm getting jumped for my lunch, and I'm fighting my ass off trying to just run and survive, And he's like
getting room raided by your mom.
Yeah,
he's over here next to Tom Cruise.
So it was, obviously there's a deeper, issue there and stuff, but he was able to meet both his birth parents, and his mother died about a year later after we met because of cancer. And, it was like a lifetime story. She finally got to meet her son that she'd always wondered what happened to him.
Hey, who knows? Maybe if that's why she was hanging on until.
Well, my dad was in Okinawa for a couple of years, so we're always a little worried that there's going to be like a Johnny Toshiba that is out there. He's probably a Tokyo cop.
Or maybe
sounds like
Takamichi Reynolds.
I know, man.
The whole adoption thing, and him going to Top Gun, that could almost be a Netflix series. Finally meets up with his mom.
Man, we almost got, I didn't tell a lot of people this, but we auditioned for The Amazing Race. Dave and I did in 2019. After I retired, we got invited we were going to be season 32. They're flying us out December 12th, 2019. We filled out the application, which is crazy. You see, it says Amazing Race. I never watched the show. But when the agent called and said, hey, they want you guys to audition for The Amazing Race, I started binge watching it. And it was all kind of crazy shit, jumping out of planes, making baskets in villages, and singing Broadway or what. Yeah, it was crazy, but you could win $1 million. So Dave and I said, yeah, let's fucking do it. Yeah. So they're flying us out December 12th for casting. And I'm like, this is happening. I'm pinching myself. We're going to Doug Myro, the Narcos guy. We're going to go to the San Diego Chargers game because he's got tickets. I'm like, oh, we're going to go to a football game with a freaking producer. I'm like getting all excited, trying to control myself. A week out, they go, you know what, guys, we pushed you back to February. You're going to be season 33 because I guess they had, they were going through the dozen or so casting people they had. And they said, all right, we got a good 10. Let's go with these, and pushed us to the next season. COVID hit.
Yeah.
Never heard back. And I called a year. I'm like, and that summer they start rioting and shit. I'm like, oh, I don't think they're gonna be wanting any cops on the show for a while,
Yeah.
And it never happened, but it was fun though for a little bit. Thinking about, we were arguing like, I'm not gonna jump a plane. He's like, I'll jump out of the plane. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm not singing. I go, all right, I'll sing. I don't care. I'm not jumping out of a plane.
You guys were already dividing.
That was so much
fun.
Tasks. Dude. We thought we were gonna be on. I mean, not that it was about that, but we kind of got caught up in it because when you're having people call you say we're gonna put you on a show, and I'm like, man, I retired and now I got a chance to just do some fun shit, I've never been able to do, and I'm still doing it. I mean, the path that's led me to what I'm doing now, my Cops and Campers is now a nonprofit. We're going to start collecting donations and having these events. And my big thing is helping the cops, obviously, with PTSD and their metabolic disease that they're all suffering so they can enjoy their pensions and enjoy life and talk to people and, not be that grumpy old asshole that you hear about, and that's my goal right now. And I'm living the dream. I'm up here in the mountains, 3,000 feet above sea level, just chilling. I mean, I'm watching football, talking to you guys. And if it wasn't for college football, I wouldn't even know what day it was.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Damn, I was going to ask you, so what year, because in my mind, I don't know, maybe the years are just flying by because I'm getting old, but maybe I was thinking it was a year or two at the most, but you're saying 2019, you and your brother were talking about The Amazing Race and stuff. When was it that you actually met him? I didn't know it was that long ago already.
Well, all right, so Narcos calls the summer 2019. I go to Dude Bro convention up there in New York, solo. My wife let me go. She knew I was retiring. It was awesome. I was like, wow, Mark in Colorado's buying me a shot, that fucking weirdo. And all this, I know. So
Eric,
it was just,
what are you going to drink?
I had
Are you
my arm
coming
around.
to the threesome, Eric?
No, but he was doing something that night. I remember he was going somewhere, but he's just seeing all the guys and the people I've heard on the show, and it was just a good vibe, man. And then a couple of weeks later, when I got back, I got that email from 23andMe, and I've gotten it before. It's usually a cousin, third cousin, or some shit. And that email said, "Hey, my name is Dave. Not only both cops in Florida, I'm your half brother." And I was like, "What?" And I'm the old. My dad's been married 5 times. My mom's been married 3, 8 marriages with my 2 folks, right? And it's no wonder I'm at number 1 and only when I waited till 40 something years old to get married, right? So found out about Dave. That's the big thing. Well, if he's really a Reynolds, he'll be born on the same day, and motherfucker's born on his birthday's the same day as us.
That's wild shit.
It's just a weird mathematician. I don't even know how it breaks down because we're all over the calendar. But I'm telling you, it's insane. But anyways, I got to call my dad. I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing?" It's like, "No, nothing, watching baseball." I mean, he's an old timer, and he's not gonna be around much longer. But I go, "Where were you in the fall of 1967?" He's like, I go, but like a good detective, I knew he graduated high school in that summer, and he started the Air Force in January. So he had 6 months to play. Where were you when you play? Because Dave's birthday was July. We went back 9 months, and it's the fall of 1967. He goes, "What were you doing?" He's like, "I was in Pensacola." Dave was born in Pensacola. So I'm like, check. I feel like I'm doing a homicide interview. Like, okay, I'm leading them right down where I want them to go.
And you're so smart. You're doing it so casually, right?
Yeah. And he goes, I go, "Were you working? What were you doing?" He's like, "I was working at Woolworths or something." I go, "What were you doing?" He's like, "I was in the paint department." I'm like, "Were you kicking it with anybody? You have a girl or anything like that?" He's like, "Yeah, there was this girl in the lingerie department." I'm like, now I got him at the crime scene, right? And I go, "Then you and that girl, anything ever happened?" He goes, "One time she told me she was pregnant, and I told her we should get married. And then a couple weeks later, she came back and said she wasn't pregnant, and then like a month later, it fizzled out, and I went up to Atlanta to sell encyclopedias with my dad. Like my grandfather had some shit up there. Not Wagnalls or Funkin' Wagnalls, not those encyclopedias, but some other ones.
Fucking Wagnall.
Yeah. So I go, "Well, Dad, I did one of those DNA tests." And he got real silent. I thought he thought I was going to say, "Dad, I got a kid,"
Yeah.
I was like, and it came back and it says that I have a half brother who's a cop in Florida, 2 hours away it was just crazy. He's right there all this time. And I go, "And you're the dad?" And he was like, and all of a sudden it was silent. I'm like, "Hello?" My stepmom picks up. "What'd you just tell him? He just went walking." I guess he just walked outside. He dropped the microphone and walked out. And I go, "Well, I was just telling her I did DNA test. We found out we got another sibling. It's my older brother, Dave." It sounds like a sitcom, right? My other brother, Dave, my other brother.
My brother, Dave.
Yeah.
And my other brother, Dave.
And he came back in, and she put me on speaker, and I told him everything that had happened. And then my dad and Dave met like a couple days later. They met halfway and like hugged it out. I can imagine my dad discovering he's got a 50-year-old son.
That's
he
crazy.
felt terrible. He's like, "Here's this kid been all my life. I wasn't around." He's like, "Hope he's all right." I'm like, "Trust me, Dad. He was hanging out with Tom Cruise. Shit, he was just fine." But it was a cool story that had a nice happy ending. It could have been worse. It could have been like dad's in prison for raping. It could have been so much worse. And in the end, we got, and he's so successful. He doesn't have kids of his own. He retired as a sergeant. He's got the big RVs that you see driving around that look like hotels. He drives one of those. Meanwhile, I'm driving my bumper pull. I don't know if you saw last week. I got my truck stuck in some freaking shithole yesterday. I had to have a tow truck pull me out. But no, not Dave. Anyways, we talk all the time. There's so many stories to catch up on. Not only police stuff, when you tell side stories, whether waitresses or whatever. He's telling me stories how he got caught sneaking off the base when he was 16. And there's so much material there. We should do a podcast. We should call it something. I don't know.
Yeah, you guys really should. You guys.
He don't talk though. He's not as vocal. I'll share everything, and he's more stoic.
Yeah.
But
man.
that was going to be the fun thing about Amazing Race, because I was going to have to take orders not only from a sergeant but my big brother that I don't even know.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I might have been like, "Fuck."
What a better way for you guys to bond though, to be thrown into the middle of the jungle, and you know what I'm saying, like
choking his ass, you motherfucker.
yeah,
Yeah.
get all those fights you should have had as children. You know, now you're having them in the middle of the freaking Amazon or whatever the hell they put you.
Tom motherfucking Cruise, really? And Goose, you lucky son of a bitch.
I know, man. So yeah, like
What
I was.
about Meg Ryan? Was that her name, Meg Ryan?
Oh yeah, no,
No,
that was
Kelly.
Kelly. What? No, I was gonna say LeBrock. Kelly something, but she's a
That
big
was-
one. She's like 2 feet taller than Tom Cruise, right?
No, the blonde girl. What was the blonde girl in that movie that he was? Yeah, I think she is taller than Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah, everyone is.
Kelly
I think.
McGinnis.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
everybody.
it.
McGinnis.
Look at that
Hey,
name.
she was bad in that movie. I was jerking off to her at like 9.
9.
And nine.
I was like 9. I was
You hanging
9.
out with Michael Jackson or something?
Oh,
No,
shit.
I didn't moonwalk. I was.
I know.
At
I'm
that
just
time,
messing.
I was watching Colors. I think at that time.
Oh
Colors.
man,
Yeah,
beating
Colors.
off to
Top
Tootie.
Gun.
Oh my
She got my
goodness.
Top Gun. She got my gun to go to the top.
Oh, that's funny.
It's so funny.
Oh shit, man.
So
Um,
so that's pretty much all that's going on with me, man. It really picked up. Obviously, the biggest thing that's probably ever happened to me was surviving that shooting that day.
Yeah.
You don't expect the car to crash in front of you and then the door open up and start being shot upon. I mean, it was
Yeah.
insane. It fucked me up for a little bit. It's almost like a fighter getting kind of, you get hit for the first time and you gotta like, all right, I gotta get better. Good.
Yeah.
As Jacko says, good, and it took a lot for me to get through that. And I finally did. And look how my life is I've been blessed, from being able to retire early. We sold our house. That was huge stress relief. Get rid of that house in Palm Beach. That was taxes and just the mortgage and the maintenance, it's just a constant grind. And to be able to do this, I thought we'd do this 3 years. I'd find some land, which was what we're doing. We're looking for land. And I get some, part-time job helping some rancher do shit because my pension's enough to cover the basics. I'm not wealthy. I'm not going to have the biggest, land around, but, I'm going to be happy. And physically, which has been the best blessing, is I'm not on medications. I can walk and run, lift weights all the time. I play with my kids, and mentally, I am never been more focused. I recently stopped drinking, so a lot of good things have started happening. I didn't quit drinking because I was like slamming beers and all that all the time, but I realized I hadn't gone a football season without drinking ever since I was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
So I go, hey, let me try a month.
Too.
I said, let me try a month, see how it's going. And I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking boring as shit sometimes, but you know what? For the most part, I'm mentally strong. Physically, I've already changed some of my body fat percentages. I've gotten down from 16 to 14%. I had a lot of body fat. It's going to take a long time for me to really lose a lot of it. I'm not trying to get in any UFC, 3%, anything like that. But I know for my own goal and some of my own, motivation, I want to see what I can do with it. And I'm allowed the time. I'm not stressed out taking orders from a boss except my wife and kids. And, it's once you guys get there, if you're able to live life a little simpler and get out of the grind, it's really worth it, especially if you want to be around your family and kids and stuff like that, because that's all you got, man, in the end.
Yeah, I did just get out of the grind. Matter of fact, I sell cookies.
What kind of are they brownie, like fudge high cookies, like gummy bear cookies?
No. I quit that industry and I bought a Pepperidge Farm route. So I sell Nantuckets and Milanos and goldfish. And I chill, bro. I go in about 4 or 5 stores a day, playing some cookies and crackers, and I'm out.
That's awesome, man. I was thinking about that. I did my Indeed job thing, just looking around what's out there, and you see some of the jobs. I was like, man, I could do what Steve's dad does, deliver, lab stuff to different jobs, just do that for a side gig. I could listen to all my talk shows. I don't have to deal with people. I'm like, that's the route for me. That's a big thing with the retired cops. They all become truck drivers or some type of thing. They don't want to deal with people. They're like, I'll just drive the rig,
It's cool because
what's cool about that Pepperidge Farm route, bro, it's about 30, 40 hours a week, and they pay you, man. It's pretty. You can start at like 5 a.m. beyond 11 or 12.
I was talking to El Cucuy yesterday morning. I was actually on my way to work, and I'm hearing him, going into these stores and, hey, what's going on? They're kind of bullshitting. They're talking about football, as he's making his way through the back door. And it's just so cool, man. He's his own boss. He sounds happy as hell. And so, yeah, El Cucuy's making his way. there as well. So it's awesome, man.
Yeah, and it's what you expect. I don't expect fancy stuff because I had it before. It almost killed me working that hard and
Yeah.
trying to live that life of my friends. They got boats, they got a jet ski. I got to have all this. And once you simplify life, and it comes down to a basic level of like, nurturing your body, taking care of your family, experiencing life. My kids got to see all 5 Great Lakes last summer, swim in it, taste it.
Right.
I never saw a Great Lakes in my whole life until I was with my kids.
Yeah.
And you start thinking fresh water. Wow, this is a good fresh water source. Now I'm thinking like, I start thinking crazy, especially if I smoke a bowl or some end of the world shit.
And then you really get thinking.
Yeah, we got a water supply here. Okay, now we need, obviously
Yeah.
shelter. We need food, but it's been so much fun. We've done more in these last 3 years than I have probably would have ever done in my previous life at all. Every vacation you got to rush back home, right?
Yeah.
Got to get back.
Right.
Got to get back. We're going back in December for 3 months, and then we're coming back. I mean,
Yeah.
What's crazy though, bro, what you just touched on is absolutely right. And I think that a lot of people don't realize all the pressures and stresses of life they put on themselves, because you get that boat and you get that jet ski and then you get sick or you can't pay your bills. Now you have all this excess because most people in their 20s don't buy that shit outright. They finance it. And so you're building, you don't know how to be happy because the world tells you need all this shit to be happy. And I'm victim of it too. I bought 5 brand new cars in the last 2 years. I do the same shit, but not necessarily to make me happy. I do it for different reasons, like starting my business and whatever. But you're absolutely right about that, man. There's stresses in life, and I think a lot of it's self-imposed because they tell you you need at least 6 months to a year of finances as a security net in case something happens to you. And most people that are overextending themselves don't have that. And from my experience in retail, and I don't know if you've seen this similar experience on the force, but every time someone would get promoted, they would go and get more bills. They would go get that new car. Now we can finally move into a house. Now we can get that RV. And they're just, no one ever gets promoted and says, cool, now I got an extra 20%. I can just stash away and live like I'm still on my other salary.
Or, hey, I got a promotion. I'm going to downgrade and save twice as much. Right.
I wish I would have lived in a freaking RV the whole time I was a cop, because I would have never paid all those mortgages. I would have paid like $500 a month. And then I'd be rolling in the dough. I probably would have spent it on a big truck though. Anyways, just like you're saying, I would have done it. I would have spent it on something.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've lost
you know
so
what,
much
though?
money.
The good thing is that Eric, you're saying you probably would have done that, but in El Cacuy, you're saying these cars or whatever. But the one good thing is that we're all thinking about that, right? There's people that are doing that as far as, oh, I got the new job, I got the new car, I got the new house, and they never even put thought into it. The fact that it's even on our brain is a good thing, right? We're conscious of it.
Well, because think about it. Well, think about it though. You go and get that new car, or you go and get that new house. And I'm not going to mention anybody by names, but I know a lot of times people get promoted, and then all of a sudden, it's like a relationship. You have the grace period where everything's peachy, but then maybe after a month or 2 or 3, that relationship with your boss, she starts getting more demanding and more expecting. Now you're a prisoner of that new house and a prisoner of that car because you can't afford to step down or to go get another job.
Yeah, That's what I was. I mean, luckily I was able to. My wife didn't work. I mean, she worked at home, obviously being a mom at home. But that was a huge strain, having to try to survive on one paycheck. But it felt right. Having my wife involved in my kids day to day. It just, I don't know. So I don't know how parents are doing it, shuffling them around from, sports activities after work and then trying to still be their parent and their friend. On some level. I know they say you're not supposed to be your kid's friend, but my kids are like my best friends, man. We laugh, we fart, we just have I'm creating like my best friends. It's awesome,
Right. Definitely. Well, there is a balance. I think that because they have to be able to trust you, and they have to be able to know that you've got their back and your love is unconditional. So there is a friend aspect, absolutely.
Yeah, I get more time for like Jordan Peterson and stuff now.
Right?
Oh,
Hell yeah.
we can't hear you, man. If you're
Oh, okay. My
there you
bad.
are. There you are.
There we go. I had muted my mic. Earlier, El Cucuy, I had on a Bay Area Spotify playlist, right? And so I
Okay.
was getting in my El Cucuy vibe, and I'm just like freestyling, bullshitting, rapping, right? And I
Okay.
look at my daughter thinking she's 7, Eric, and I'm thinking she's gonna be annoyed, right? She's next to me dancing. So I'm like,
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
cool, man. It's cool when you have that friendship with your kids. Yeah, like you said, yeah, there's a you have to balance it, but it's cool when you can hang out and enjoy each other, you know?
Well, you definitely, because what's the opposite of that, right? There has to be a median, because you definitely don't want your parents or your kids to, you don't want to hate your parents. You
Right.
definitely don't want to have that relationship where you can't trust them, you can't confide in them, you can't go to them for support, because I've seen that too, where it was more like a disciplinarian role. And you don't get those years back. Me and Daniel, we talk about a lot that if you're lucky, you get to see about 70 to 75 summers, and you don't
Yeah.
want to have 0 to 18 with your parents that were fucking miserable.
Dude, I thought of that the other day. I saw a meme, something about appreciating your kids. It's one of those where the dad's trying to make you feel bad about, you're not a good enough dad, but even though you are.
Yeah.
And I had this moment of complete sadness that one day I am not going to be there with my kids, like hanging
Yeah.
out with them, seeing what they're doing, seeing what their lives are turning into. And it was like terrifying. I was like, man, that's gonna,
It sucks.
it does, even though it could be 40 years from now, it was still a feeling of like, wow,
One day
you
I'm
know,
gonna feel that.
it
One of
sucks.
my kid was like my best friend, bro. She lived with me from 4 years old until she was 22 or 23. And now that she's 26 and she lives in a whole different city, I've only seen her like 2 or 3 times in the past,
Yeah.
couple of years. Now we just went to Hawaii together for a weekend, so that was cool. But nah, man, she when I lived in Humboldt, and I used to have to bring her down on vacations and whatnot to see her mom. She was my road dog, and you spend 10 hours in a car each way listening to Cavino Rich, and
Yeah.
back and forth like that, and all our music and whatnot. Our bond was super tight, and it does kind of suck. It's just you start to realize that it's just part of the deal. Like, now she's on her own 2 feet, she's doing her thing, but it does. You're right, bro. It sucks not being able to see your kid, who was also like your best friend, on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I got into the kid game in my 40s, 42 and 46 are my, when I had my 2 kids. So it's like I am that older guy. They always make those jokes. Oh, I am the grandfather at Little League, compared to most of the parents that have kids in their 20s and 30s, and
Yeah.
but I'm done
Yeah,
with that role. I'm more like, I'm chill, I'm fun with the kids. And I did community outreach when I was a cop. I rode bicycles around with them, so I can joke and have fun with the kids. And being around good kids, especially the kids we're coming across in this travel life, because we come across other homeschool kids, there's a different maturity level and a different something. When I was a kid, homeschool kids were the weirdos. Either that or they had some issues that required them to be at home or was serious religious based or something. So I thought that was the last thing.
I was homeschooled.
See, that's what I'm saying. All of a sudden, I start coming across kids that were like, "Yeah, I graduated high school at 16 and started college." I was like, "Really? Like, what the fuck?"
I got
am
a story
doing?"
about some homeschool. Hey, so check it out. I was homeschooled. I got kicked out in 9th grade, and I got kicked out in the 10th grade.
What'd you
And
do?
I went to
Were you
I was
fighting or
selling
what?
weed. I was fighting, selling weed, fucking all kinds. Then they gave me Saturday school, and I never went. And then it doubled, and then that doubled, and before you know
You were
it,
like Breakfast Club. That's so.
yeah, bro. Before you know it, I had 64 Saturdays, and I'm like, I'm not fucking going to Saturday school until I'm a senior. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
And so that was it. So I went, and then I did some other shit. I got in trouble and ended up going to a group home, and it was like 30-day inpatient group home where it was like you couldn't leave. Your parents would come visit you once a week or something, but it was
Wow.
in a group home. And so they took me to this place. Well, all of the kids that were in this group home, and we went to the place called Fresno Restart. I credited the my friend Colombo was still enrolled in a different high school, and he was giving him credits that even though his mom didn't sign off for him to go. It was kind of like a hood homeschool, but
That's so.
I didn't even do the homework, bro. I would pay people I would pay them money to do my homework. It'd come back in different handwriting, and Pitts didn't care. Just as long as his goal was to get me to graduate. And
Right.
no, I'm serious. And and he was G too. He'd be like, "Is that a pistol in your pocket?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm at school, man. I wouldn't bring no pistol to school." He's like, "I got that new Snoop Doggy Dog," and he was cool. He was hella cool, right? And but that's my homeschool experience. Because I was selling weed as a kid, so I was like, I ain't making no money at school. I got money to make. So that's the other side of it.
He's 11 years old.
I
got money to make.
No,
He's walking by
I was 14,
every
15,
every
though,
kid's bus stop.
Yeah, having them lower that half window.
And what's crazy is what's crazy about that though is when I went, I was supposed to have 60 credits, so I was a year behind, but I still graduated 6 months early. So I don't know, wild shit, homeschool.
It worked out, right? It worked out.
That's what I'm saying.
But you know what? I went on to college. You got a 3.75 all through college, and then that's another thing I came to realize is the shit that they're teaching you in school, you don't even need to know about 75% of it. If you can read, you can write, and you can do basic math, and you can comprehend information and process it, that's all you need.
Right. I've seen it with my kids being able to, like today we were breaking sticks, making a fire, and it's just fun hanging out. Let's build a teepee and watch it collapse and, just fucking around.
That's awesome.
But that's how you learn through play. You learn through play, and, there's time to get serious, obviously, with firearms and stuff like that and fire. But for the most part, you're exactly right. I look back at how long I was in school from 8 o'clock until 2 or whatever the hour was at, sports and all that stuff. It was a long ass day. What I could have done with that time on my hands, rather than sitting in oceanography class. I knew I wasn't going to the ocean.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting.
I was up to no good, bro. I was up to no good. Those years were great, but I was up to no good, bro. No good at all. Matter of fact, those were the years when buddy by the name of Kevin Federline was driving me around every day for a couple of years in his CRX, and we were just we were up to no good. We were up to no good. There's no doubt about it.
That's funny. That's crazy.
Oh man.
So,
well, he was at continuation school. He was at,
so much for your 20 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you that, Eric. I was gonna say I think we're gonna start to wrap it up because we've been going about an hour and a half. I told you to set aside about 20 minutes. So I'm sorry if you had plans and we kind of interrupted those.
Hey, you guys are good luck. Florida State won in overtime, so I'm flying high right now. So
yeah.
Well, actually, are they ranked? Are they ranked right now?
Yeah, they're ranked number 4. They're 4-0. They won it. They went to Clemson. They went to Clemson. That's a tough place to win. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's what they're playing right now.
Well, it's over now. They just got.
They won in overtime.
Yeah.
So Dabo Sweeney's not going to be happy, is he?
No.
Who's up Florida State's coach right now?
Mike Norvell. He came over from I think Western Kentucky. No, he was at Memphis. He was at Memphis where they were doing that crazy offense and whatever. He seems like a nice, solid guy. But it's always good when my Knowles are involved for me. And I got something to watch on Saturdays.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
For sure. You know what? I'm not as deep as you, Eric, when it comes to college football, but I'm not gonna lie. I jumped on this Coach Prime train, and
greatest Seminole of all time.
I've been watching as I've been cleaning up and stuff this morning, getting my daughter situated. I've been watching a lot of college football this morning. So it's definitely fun. So I'm glad your team won in overtime. I have some bets later today on DraftKings that I'm trying to see. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming over here and chilling with us for a while.
Hey, I do have a Dion story. When I was a freshman at Florida State in 1988, that was he was taking a limo to the games. I mean, this guy was prime time then, right?
Right.
But he would drive around on a little scooter around campus, and then he also had a Chrysler LeBaron, a white one that was a convert. Remember the Chrysler, and it had it was a convertible, and it was white because I noticed he loves white because their team's wearing white all the time. So
yeah,
but I let him cut. You know how people like try to get over in traffic? He gave me a wave, like, "Can I get over?" So I let him over. In the back of his car, it said "Neon Dion."
Oh, there you go. How
and
about that?
And that was my first time. I was like, "Neon." I go, holy shit, that's the guy. That's the guy I've been hearing about, the badass deep back, and now look at him now from his whole career to what he's doing, for these kids. And it's just been a fast. I'm on team. I think they're going to get trounced today by Oregon, though. I think that's
I hope not. I lived in Oregon and all them Duck fans, they fucking whack, whack, whack.
I know. I just think that's, I don't know, from where they're coming from, they had no recruiting. I mean, they bring in one guy was on the team last year. Eventually, something's got to give. I can't see him running the table, right? No way.
I hope so. I hope he gets this one.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna attribute all of his success in the NFL and as a first-year college coach and his everything to. I'm gonna attribute that to Eric letting him in.
That's it. If you didn't let him in, his whole life trajectory would have been on a different path.
He could have jumped out and slapped me or something, been arrested. Everything could have changed, all because of me.
It's true. True
yeah,
shit.
You never know. You never know. Hey, we don't know. That's the thing, right?
I do know is my mom showed me the hotel where my dad and mom hooked up to have me. That's a little weird.
Oh, there you go.
It's called It was called the Travel Lodge. It is now known as the Seminole Inn.
I can't lodge.
Every time I would drive down Tennessee Street, our main drag, I'd look to the right. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, that's classic.
Do you look to the right because you have memories there?
Something draws me that way.
It's something. You don't know what it is, but it's just you. Now every time I pass a Travel Lodge, I'm gonna think of Eric.
Dad's little squirt, man. That's what I used to say.
Oh my goodness. Well, Eric, we really appreciate you taking your time and hanging out with us this afternoon. And El Cucuy, I know you're driving right now, so I appreciate you making it. But let's go ahead and wrap this one up. It was going to be actually a
Trojan
segment,
style.
Eric. We were going to throw a segment into one of our episodes, but I think this is going to be a standalone episode. So cool. We give you the hour.
It's a lot of information, and we get off on tangents, and you guys are a little more old school, so we could talk about old school shit too. Like some of these other podcasts I do that are all nutrition based, a little more straight arrow. I can't go back. Yeah, back in the day, man, fucking doing a bong hit, and I can't. City of Miami cops almost pulled me out of my car in high school for talking. There's all kinds of shit I was getting into. Same stuff. Nothing as bad as you. I wasn't selling dope in 10th grade, but
I got rated a couple times, but it's all good.
That's so funny.
But anyway, after show later, we thank Eric Keto 50 across all social media. If you want to find out anything about living a healthier lifestyle, look out for Little Eric on Netflix. He's going to be on there. Check out Juliana Martinez and check out June Hawk. Is it Hawk or Hawkins? Hawkins, right? Hawkins. All right. So everybody keep your ear out for all of these names. Was it Doug Myro? Is somebody who is a big proponent of everything happening here. So we appreciate it, Eric. And thank you for your time, man. After show, but later, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757.